Hi, everyone. Welcome to the How We Hustle podcast.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Tanya. And we invite you to join us in our unfiltered conversation about the real life hustle of being an entrepreneur. For more information about the podcast, check out howwehustlepodcast.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at How We Hustle Podcast, where you'll get notable quotes from our episodes and updates on live new episodes. So head over to Instagram and follow us at How We Hustle Podcast. Happy New Year!
Yes, Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2018.
So today we're going to be talking about things that we're leaving behind in 2017 and what we are moving forward with in 2018.
Yeah, let's first just note that this is the first day of the year. So this is such a great opportunity to sort of audit ourselves and be like, 2017 is over. Doesn't matter what happened in 2017, it is over now. So it's okay to leave things in 2017. I know that I'm leaving so many things in 2017. This is the first day of 2018. There's 365 more to go. It's like an unmarked canvas, and I'm so excited. I feel like this came at the exact right moment for me. I built a little bit of momentum, and now it's January 1st, and I have resolved myself to make this the best year of my life, but also the most intentional year of my life, the most impactful year of my life. This is the year that I will look back on and be like, that was a turning point. That's the time when I was at a fork and I decided intentionally that I was going to take a certain path. 2017 is over. It was a year for me that was marked with highs and lows and all sorts of bullshit that I self-manifested, and I am very conscious of what 2017 brought with me, and I am moving on to 2018. So I'm being very intentional about January 1st, and it's such a great opportunity to do that.
Well, I have to say that I like to look at every single day as if it's a new January 1st, because I think it's kind of strange that we wait for just this random day on a calendar, but I'll go with it. And I know 2017 for me was an epic year that definitely changed my life. One of the best years of my life for sure. But also I am leaving my 20s behind. And in 2018, I'm turning 30, Mike.
I thought you were 23, no?
You've been saying that since we met. And, before you used to say, I thought you were 18. But no, I'm turning 30 this year. It's a big deal. I'm leaving my 20s behind. What's to come in the 30s? Who knows?
And I just turned 35, so I'm suffering a little bit of the same kind of thing where I'm halfway to 40 now, so I'm also very conscious of my age. So it's time to, in my opinion, really be intentional about where my life is going.
I have to say, Simon Sinek, in one of his books that I read, talked about how most entrepreneurs had the most success after the age of 40. Their biggest years, their most successful businesses came apparently for a lot of them after the age of 40. So there's still many good years still to come for you, Mike, even after 40.
But for those people, though, it's probably the steps they took in their 20s and 30s that gave them the running start to hit their 40s and really crush it in their 40s. Not to say that you have to do it that way. And if you are in your 40s, and definitely don't let that stop you. But I know that the work that I'm doing now is going to make my 40s amazing.
And I'm making my 30s amazing. So, Mike, what are you leaving behind in 2017?
I think that I'm leaving all sorts. By the way, we're going to I think we decided before we recorded that we're going to maybe get a little more personal and just audit ourselves and maybe be a little more casual in this episode and just be a little more vulnerable, I guess. At least I had this kind of urge right in this moment to just share myself. And the reason is because I did a lot of things last year and throughout my whole life that have been related to shame, I've been holding on to shame, and all sorts of dysfunctional things have happened in my life because I was like married to this idea of shame and like that I need to care, like I need to hide certain things about me. And when you hide things, you just like, you know, the right energy isn't coming your way. Right? So I am leaving shame behind is what I'm leaving in 2018. And I know we were talking about Brene Brown and what she has to say about that. What does she have to say about that?
One of the very first book that actually changed my whole life, basically. That's what my business is named after. My business is Wholehearted Business Coaching, because her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, starts by talking about wholehearted living. And one of the quotes from there that I had picked out to share was, "Shame hates it when we reach out and tell our story. It hates having words wrapped around it. It can't survive being shared. Shame loves secrecy." So when we feel like we can't share our story, or that there are things that we need to hide about ourselves, that's when shame manifests itself. And as long as you keep it secret, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and takes more of a hold on you. So when you share it, when you share your story and your truth, shame no longer has power over you. So that's what we were talking about just prior to taping this episode. And so, Mike, what were you feeling shame about in 2017?
All right, this is where I expose myself, right? From the time I was 18 till 2017, I have had a minor substance abuse problem. It's something that I always kept secret. It is like something that even the people that were closest to me didn't really even know was part of my life. And in that sense, they actually weren't as close to me as they could have been because I was keeping this secret. I was suffering in secret because I had all this shame. I'm like, if these people who are close to me know my truth, then they aren't going to like me as much. So 2017, like more in the beginning of the year, was the time that I just decided that I'm going to address this. So I kind of sought out some help, and I am, I'm no longer doing that. And it has been the most beneficial thing that I've done in my life. Well, one of them anyway, is to like move beyond the shame that prevented me from confronting my own substance abuse issues. And
I think when I met you, Mike, I used to describe you as very mysterious because you were very closed off from sharing whatever was happening.
Everyone has said that of me. And part of it was like, I wasn't able to connect with myself. Okay, let's just put it out there. I was using marijuana a lot, and that like I was constantly blocking myself from a connection with myself. And that made me was like I was just always full of like shame, and just I was like really scared to reveal myself, especially to the people I was closest with. And like my family, like my mother didn't know my truth for over 15 years. I revealed my truth to her a few months ago. By the way, it's been over 7 months since I have used that substance. But I revealed to my mother, I sat with her and I like did the scariest thing, or the thing that I thought was the scariest thing. And I just told her everything. And like, that was amazing for me because she didn't react the way that I had been so scared she would. And actually everyone in my life that I told this to didn't react in the way that I was scared they would. So it's like this shame that I had over my problem was really controlling me, but it didn't like manifest in the way that I was so scared it would. And like, I also had some, the last few years, I have been like not the best partner in my personal relationships. And, this past year, some of my self-destructive shame-induced behaviors kind of blew up in my face. And since that happened, I've like sort of really worked hard to audit how I got there and like why I did what I did. And it's like, at the end of the day, it comes down to like the relationship I have with myself, how comfortable I am with myself, my ability to be authentic and to like be real, you know? It's shame, you know? It's like, it's fear of not being good enough, you know? We do things because we have this fear of not being good enough. And like, that's what I am leaving in 2017. This fear that I'm not good enough. Like, I am good enough. I am like a badass. And, you know, like even with like doing videos last like little while, I've been doing videos and I really am uncomfortable by doing a video and posting it because I have shame, you know? It's like, what if the people that watch this laugh? They're like, he thinks he's good enough, but he's not, right? But like when I've been doing that, people message me and they're like, wow, like awesome. You know, you're doing like such great positive energy. And it's like, it gets easier and easier when you just, and the reason I'm saying these things, these are secrets that I've held on to for way too long. The reason that I'm putting it out there is because by putting it out there, you can actually see I'm getting emotional right now. By putting it out there, like these things don't control me anymore, right? So.
Mike, tears are information. It just means that that's something that really matters to you. And you've had so much growth this year. Anybody who knows you can see that you are completely changed. Like you've changed from the minute you started doing the personal development work and like looking into yourself. And it's also helped you connect with people. Like we connect more, we have more fun on the podcast, you have more fun in your day, and it helps with the relationships. Like I know that was my journey when I read that book, The Gifts of Imperfection, when I went to therapy every single week for a year. And it was about like, I didn't love myself. And so you do all these things to not think about that or to portray a perfect person on the outside without really letting people in to how you're feeling on the inside or what's impacting you. And doing the work, seeing your darkness, going there, it's hard work, but it's worth it. And that's usually how people get to this space, right? It's like you got to this space where you're sharing this message and you're providing the services that you do now because you were once a person who didn't feel worthy, who didn't feel like you could share your story. And now you've done the work that you can, and you feel confident to share your story in service of others and in service of yourself. Yes?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like about the darkness. I let myself in so many ways just stay in the darkness. And when you stay in the darkness, a lot of dark things happen. And I'm not trying to take responsibility off of myself for things that I did in 2017. But I'm putting the responsibility on myself to get out of that darkness, to like shed light on all those things that I was like hiding behind, you know, all those things that caused me to hide. When you're hiding, you're not being authentic. And hiding from myself was like the biggest thing I was hiding from others. I was, not being authentic with other people, but more than anything, I was not being authentic with myself. And 2017 was the year that I began to really allow myself to like take down the walls that were blocking me from my own relationship with myself. And when you take down the walls that are standing in between you and yourself, that is when you can start to love yourself, And it's like, now that I'm beginning to love myself, like my therapist told me recently that she's like, for the first time since I started seeing you, which has been like almost a year, you are loving yourself. And like, it's from this position of loving myself that I am going to kick ass in 2018 in my personal relationships, in my business, in everything.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's such an important thing. And I never really talk about loving yourself per se, because people don't really realize like how significant and important it is. But until you really like feel into that and fully love every single piece and part of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, like you can't put yourself out there. You can't share your truth. You can't have the impact that you're meant to have, because you're not really comfortable in your own skin. And you believe that if you share certain things, that people won't see you as being good enough, or they won't think you're worthy of anything. And so it starts with you discovering that about yourself. And I mean, that is a lot of work in itself to figure that out. I know it took me a year to get to that point where I fully loved myself. And I feel like that was my journey 2016, 17. And like, it's changed. Like, I don't question what I look like or what people are going to think of me or if people judge me anymore. It's like very freeing to not care if other people like you or don't like you, because you like you.
Exactly. And one of the things, another thing I want to leave behind in 2017 is like my excuses and the stories that I'm telling myself, which is like, I'm not good enough, which then like, fuel my excuses. And that's like exactly about loving yourself. Like, if you love yourself, if you believe in yourself, these excuses that you can't do it, like really lose a whole lot of steam, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you're in control of that. Like, if you tell yourself, I always say, like, if you have shitty stories, you're going to do shitty things. Like, if you have shitty ideas of what you can and can't do, then like, you're in control of that. You won't be able to do it.
Yeah, if you believe you're a shitty person, and like in a lot of ways, I did believe I was a shitty person. If you believe you're a shitty person, then you're like, okay, well, I already believe I'm a shitty person, so therefore, for me to do shitty things, it's sort of fine.
Yeah, it's in your identity. So you're leaving that shitty person identity behind. Like, you're not a shitty person.
Thank you. I have been like this idea of a higher power is something that I've been working with, trying to figure out what that means to me. And I've decided what a higher power means to me. Like I like to think that I'm guided right now, or I do think that I'm guided right now by a higher power. And for me, my higher power is like the best version of myself that is staring at me. It's like, you know, what can I do to meet like what my higher power wants of me? And what my higher power is like the best version of myself that is staring at me. That's how I understand. And that's what guides me, and that's what's going to guide me in this coming year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, what is the best path or the best thing for me, but also like what is for the greatest good of all people, right? Who do I need to be for the greatest good for all, as well as myself? Because if I'm hiding or not sharing my story, then I'm not doing the thing that I was meant to be here to do.
So what are some of the things that you're leaving behind in this year?
So I'm leaving, as you were talking about that, I was kind of changing it a little bit, but I mean, I'm definitely leaving behind my fear of outsourcing. And as like surface level as that sounds, I was thinking deeper about it while you were speaking, and I was thinking that it's clearly very linked to my perfectionism and the fact that like if I put out things that are not perfect, that people will view me differently. But it's also about that, like, I feel like I put my heart and soul into everything I do, and so it's very hard for it to come from someone else and not come from me. But again, that's not for the greatest good for all. If I'm sitting there doing things that are not within my zone of genius, then I'm missing out on doing things that would be in my zone of genius. Things like I sit there and spend so much time on creating graphics when I could be working with more clients or creating more videos or creating more content. Whereas graphics are not, they don't need to be made by me. The editing of my videos does not need to be done by me. And I think I had this belief that like nobody would do it better than I did. But there are things I know that I'm not very good at, and that's not where I should be focusing my energy, but it's hard for me to release control and believe that somebody else is going to do it better until I like trust them. So I do have some really amazing people on my team right now. And so I'm using that story going into 2018 that like, there are amazing experts out there that are going to do it better than I'm going to do it. And that's going to free up my time and space to, one, work with more clients, but two, to also not be so quote unquote busy, to spend more time not working, to be open to a relationship. So I don't think I have been open to a relationship since my breakup, which was at the beginning of me starting my business a couple of years ago. So, and before that, like I was thinking about it the other day, like really I haven't been in a new relationship since 2011. Don't be weirded out by that.
It does seem like yesterday, though. I remember that.
I know, doesn't it? It doesn't even seem like that long ago. But it was 2011, the last time that I was not with my previous partner. And so it's been a long time. And it is time for me to believe that there is somebody out there who is going to be like a power couple with me, you know, that is going to make me better and help me, and, you know, somebody to go through life with and create together and enjoy life together, I think. I know, and I'm a little bit freaking out about it, but I know that I'm ready, and I know that 2018 has that in store. I just need to leave behind the identity that I don't need anybody. I can do everything on my own, and that there's nobody that I like out there. I feel like my outsourcing and my relationship issues are the same.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, wow, they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like they're very closely correlated.
It's all about letting go of control.
Yeah, and like the fact that like I don't have to do everything on my own always. Like I am fiercely independent. It's what I went to therapy about for a whole year. And it was about like letting people into your circle, letting people in, and like feeling a little bit dependent on people. Like my therapist, Brenda, used to say, it's not good to be on either end of the bell curve. You don't want to be too independent or too dependent. You just want to be somewhere in the top to middle. That's the sweet spot. So being a little bit more dependent on other people is my edge, and something that I am ready to let a man into my circle again. I wonder what he's going to be like. I mean, I have an idea, but I really don't know. I mean, I just want the universe to, you know, I will go where I am guided. I just like to not have to take on the responsibility of, okay, where am I going to meet them? What is it going to be like? What is this like? You know, I feel like I just need to release the control of what it's going to look like and trust that the universe has my back, and the universe has a better plan for me than I have for myself.
Well, what's great about this episode for you and I both is that we just verbalized out into the world like what we want, and like it's there now. It's been said, so like we're manifesting it. But like just by you saying that and by me saying what I said, like that is I think it's a big step in attracting and leaving and everything that we want to happen.
It's cool because I feel like this is like a time capsule.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like we could just forget this happened. Like, it's happened and it's been recorded and we just published it. So
what did we create in 2018? I mean, and also in terms of my business goals, like my business though, I'm going to be more working with people more intimately and intensely, like in terms of I'm going to do less of trying to spread myself so thin and more of getting deeper with the people I am working with. What about you?
Well, the last few months of 2017 were a good opportunity for me to kind of figure out what I was doing with my business. Kind of, I worked with you to break it down and I'm rebuilding it now. But that being said, I also have held some excuses a little bit too close. And so I want to work with, should I say a number?
Yeah.
I would like to do 25 books this year.
Okay. Does that go big? Because generally my clients know that I usually multiply whatever the number is by 3.
Wow.
So did you go big with 25? Because I hate the realistic.
To be honest, the first number that came to me was 50.
Okay, so 75 it is.
All right, I'm going to work with 75 paying clients in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
I just my heart's beating really hard right now.
You can do it. My goal is originally my goal was to get to the 500,000 mark this year, but I reworked my goals and I don't think it's about that at all. I think that I want to release the monetary goals because I don't want to just get to a number just to get there. I'd rather I want to work with 21 to 1 clients over the year. And I'm going to start my mastermind in January for people to do advanced business development, and then still have my LEAP program. But my LEAP program, we're going to get more intense and make it 6 months instead of 4 months so that I can spend more with them rather than less. So lots of clients. We're gonna
lots of impact and helping and serving and doing positive things that exponentially grow.
I can't wait to listen to this back. Okay, so maybe I also want to leave it with, what are you leaving behind?
I was going to say the same. I was I'd be really curious to hear what other people are also leaving behind.
So what are you leaving behind in 2017? And what are your intentions for 2018? We'd love to hear about it. You can either send us an email. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. And you can always put a review in the in iTunes or wherever you're listening to your podcast. And we might just be giving a giveaway away for anybody who shares their goals and intentions and gives us a review.
There we go. So you better do it, or you should do it.
And that's a wrap on another episode of How We Hustle. For more information, check out howwehustlepodcast.com.